Hi, I'm Todd Nauck. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to do an illustration of Spider-Gwen from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on a pink Post-it note. So let's not waste any time. Let's flip the camera around. Let's get to drawing. All right, so this video is sped up by 2 times, so it's twice the normal speed. So keep that in mind. I don't actually draw this fast in real life, so this is twice the speed. I'm using a Pentel TwistErase mechanical pencil with 0.5 HB lead. That's my preferred lead of choice. And so now I'm just breaking in the shape of the head, roughing in the placements of each of the features. I want to know where the ear will go, the side of the head, the hairline here, where the eyes, you saw I put the eyes in there. I start to rough in the shapes of Spider-Gwen's hair, the different bits. You know, she got part of her hair torn off by Miles Morales, so she had to make do with the hairstyle there on her right-hand side. And then the left-hand side, we have the longer flowing, cascading sort of waves that kind of come down. So I want to keep that in mind. Start to rough in the eyebrows. And I kind of just jump back and forth from whatever part of the face or hair that I'm drawing at the moment. Then I switch over to another place. I don't know why I do that. I guess it just kind of keeps things fresh, just kind of bouncing from one side to the other. So you get those inner ear canals penciled in. Start to rough in the nose here. Just continuing to add some lines here that I'm going to make final decisions when I move into ink. So these aren't the tightest of pencils, but since I'm doing my own inks, I just like to give myself good guidelines that I can work with the shapes that I want. Start to draw in the mouth here. Get the lips. Try to get that Spider-Gwen pout as accurate as possible. Put some details here into the eyes. Try to figure out the shape of that nose just a little bit more. Just a few finishing touches just to make sure everything's where it needs to be. Working the hood there from her costume. All right, so now that the pencils are done, I move into the inks. So I'm using a Pigma Micron pen. I'm using the 0.8 size. It's one of the thicker tipped microns, which I enjoy for the thicker contours, but I can also get some nice thin lines with it. So I'll be using this pen for a majority of the time. So I've broken her hair down into these chunks, but based off of looking at reference of Spider-Gwen from the movie, which I think is a fantastic movie. Love the designs, love the story, loved everything about the Into the Spider-Verse movie. So looking at the reference, I noticed the different shapes that the hair cut. So I want to replicate that in my line work. So taking a break from the hair and working on parts of the face. Got the outer contour of the cheek, working on the ear here. Getting those shapes just right. Let's cut back to the hair. And just studying the flow of the hair, I replicate that my way with my lines here. Creating the shapes that I want and the flow that I want. And then the fade here, I really enjoy doing fades. A little darker as it from the underneath the hair, and then a little less as we move towards the down by the ear part. Some thicker contours on the outside part of the hair, but then thinner lines on the inside. Helps keep the line work from getting too muddied. If all the lines are the same size, same width, then it can be kind of stagnant. So this is where utilizing different thicks and thins can really come into play. Thicker lines for the base shape, thinner lines for those smaller details, the thinner striations of the hair. All right, and then thicker here for the neck, the outer parts of the neck. Get the folds of the hoodie going. And the shoulder here. And a rule of thumb is if you're not sure if you should go thick or thin, always go thin first because you can always thicken it up later. You can always make the lines thicker. It's not really possible to make the lines thinner, but you can always make the lines thicker. As you see, I'll put down a line, then I might go over it if I realize I want that line a little thicker. Thinner line for the color of her, for the line for her color, I guess is what I'm wanting to say there. And time to move into the eyebrows. Not going full black for the eyebrows because I want to come in with color for her eyebrows. Her little piercing there on her eyebrow, and then thicker lines here for the eyelashes. So eyelashes, the eyes you want to be really careful with, be very thoughtful with the lines you're putting down because the eyes are what I believe we can often connect with a character. Now I switched down to the 01 micron here for the finer details of the face, like the nose, the lips here. The 08 was just a little too thick, so powering down to the 01 really gives me the control that I want to get the detail I want. Remember, I can put down a thinner line and then thicken up as I need to, like I did with the irises here. The little black parts of her eye, I can always make those dots thicker as necessary. Even thicken up some of the eyelashes here where I feel I want a little more body to the thickness of that line. All right, so the inks here are just about done. And when I give it a moment to dry, I bring in my kneaded art gum eraser. It's that kind of rubbery eraser. It works really nicely. And with Post-it notes, you want to be very careful how you erase so it doesn't crinkle up the paper since it's still on the pad. So usually I just pull straight down. Okay, and now it's time for the Copic markers. So we're starting with some E01 for a base shade, leaving the pink of the paper, leaving some open areas that I can come in with some lighter colors. The open areas are what I would consider the highlight, or where light is hitting on Spider-Gwen's face. So it would be kind of above and to the left in this shot. So learning the structure of the face, the bones, the angles of the face, for the cheek, the forehead, the nose, the bridge of the nose, coming in with some E00 here to kind of bring in a lighter shade, blend that E01 into the paper there. And now coming in with some pink. I want to bring some pink in here. I want to use a lot of pink on her face here for the rosiness of her nose and her cheeks. This is an R20 that I'm using right now. And bring in a little bit in the brow, down through the cheeks and the chin, even under the neck a little bit. And I want to come in with an even lighter shade of pink. I'm going to come in with some R00. With this R00, it's so light, it's so nice to use to really blend everything together, all the E's and the R's together to get a nice smooth transition. Now looking at my reference for Spider-Gwen from the movie, is she has some pretty dark roots. So I'm starting with some shades of brown first, some E57, pulling from the part from where her roots of the hair are showing, as well as starting the fade there, getting that brown going. Starting darker and working my way lighter, working from the E57 to an E84, which I use for a lot of my blonde characters. It's a nice brown that goes well for blonde hair, using that E84 for the eyebrows as well. Now I want to come in with some white, yellow color, so I have the Y21 here to blend from the browns out into the open area of the paper that I'm leaving for the highlight. And the Copic markers, the ink wants to blend with each other. They want to work together, so it's real nice for getting a nice smooth blending effect. So now some E00 to really get those colors interacting with each other. Now for the eyes, coming with some BG34 and some B01 to kind of get that bluish, greenish bluish sort of color to her eyes. Now for the lips, some RV95 and RV32. Use a little bit of that RV32 in the nose and just to kind of rosy it up just a little bit more. Okay, and so let's do the pink parts inside of her hoodie there, so with some RV66 and RV13, using these two shades of pink to color in that shade for her hoodie. Okay, so now next up is we're going to be heading into the shading. So I'm going to start with some cool gray 2 for her skin tone, and working on the opposite side of where that light source was. So the light source is from the upper left, our upper left, so I'm putting the shadows on the right hand side, and the lower parts of on the right hand side. Considering each plane and angle of her face and where light would hit, where shadows would fall, which, where the hair overlaps, the shape of the nose, the bridge of the nose, around the chin, really working that one right side cheek, a little bit on the left hand side cheek there to create definition and shape, and the same with pulling through the hair. This is some cool gray 3 now for the hair. Use a little bit here on the eyelids, a little bit in the ear there underneath the chin. So a little bit darker shade of cool gray. Okay, and now I'm going to move this to a darker shade of gray, the cool gray 4. I'm using this any place where I'm going to have white. So the whites of her eyes, the white of her costume. This is my shadow color for her costume. Any place that there would be white, I'm using this darker shade of gray. Now that's because I'm working on a pink Post-it note. It's pink color, and I want to bring in some white. So I'm using the cool gray 4 to start the shadow, and I'll bring in another part of the process here in just a moment. So we'll come back to that here in just a second. So now I'm using some neutral gray, starting with the neutral gray 6 to a neutral gray 4 here for a background fade, using the even numbered neutral grays. Next up is the neutral gray 2, pulling from the darker colors down into the pink of the paper, the open areas, and then some neutral gray 0, the same sort of process. Now remember how I was saying I'm using that cool gray 4 for the white areas? Now I'm coming with this white art pencil to color over the gray and the pink. So now when this white pencil goes over that gray, it lightens up that gray and gets me just the right shade of light gray that I want. So that's why I use a darker gray initially, because I know that using the white colored pencil over it will lighten it up, and I'll arrive at just the right shade of gray that I would desire. Now I'm going to use some of this white pencil through her hair here. She has some pretty light blonde hair, so I'm using this white pencil to really help convey that in the open area that I had left of the pink paper. Okay, just a few little more details, just layering in that white pencil to get the vibrancy that I want. And now it's time for, forgot to add a little highlight to the nose and here on the cheek. And now it's time for that classic finishing move, the white outline with the Uniball Signo white gel pen. Just really like how the white outline makes the character pop on the colored paper. So just carefully going around the contour of Spider-Gwen here, making sure to bring the white line right up next to that black ink line. I want to maintain the thickness and the exact line that I left with the black ink as much as possible. So I want to bring that white line right up to it. It takes a bit of practice and control to get it just right. Okay, so that's just about done. Oh, add a little highlight here in her eye so it's a nice, really bright light. And now I'm adding the webs to her that go on the pink. Now the webs are kind of this aqua teal sort of color, and I want that to be a little bit vibrant. So what I do is I initially put down some white gel pen. I wait for that to dry. I edit it out the drying sequence. It's about 5 minutes. And now once the white pen is dry, I can come in with the BG34 to add the color of the webs. So that's how I do that. Now I just put my autograph right on here and the date, and this piece is done. So we'll turn the art around here for one last shot, and then we'll sign off. Hey, there we go. Spider-Gwen on a pink Post-it note. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment below. I always appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe to my video channel so that you don't miss out on future art videos. And if you're on any of the social medias like the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, all my links are listed below, so you can give me a follow there and see all the different arts that I post that might not end up here on YouTube. So gang, thanks so much. Hope you had a good time. Keep on drawing, keep having fun.